Welcome back. You're now watching the political segment on the weekend show. So Monday is a public holiday and Nigerians enjoy public holidays, but it's for an important reason. On Monday, we will be inaugurating the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What are our expectations? What are the potentials to explore? And what are the priorities to focus on? We will be beginning the two-part conversation, which will start today and will continue next week. Joining us, we have
More Research Nonso, who is a political analyst. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning. So I understand, a supporter of the APC, and I'll start by saying, how would you rate the outgoing administration so far?
Without mixing words, I will say that President Muhammadu Buhari's administration have done their best. There are areas they performed excellent, and there are areas they didn't do well also. But what matters is that they have done their best and they have paved the way, and they have, giving us direction of where the incoming administration will focus on and follow. That's what we're talking about. When you come to infrastructure, even you can see what they have been able to do. When it comes to the train stations, the roads, a lot of things, President Muhammadu Buhari has done excellently well. Even in Abuja here, you can see a lot of new roads created by him. He inherited a lot of burden and problems, and I continue to tell people that the governance, it's a continuum. Anyone he didn't do well, the master of all masters is already coming on board. Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, will finish it off and continue from where President Muhammadu Buhari stopped and put this country in the right direction.
What key factors would you say have contributed to Tinubu's emergence as incoming president?
Factors?
Yes, that have contributed to his emergence.
Well, the key factor is Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, that you are seeing that will be our president by Monday, didn't just start today. He has always been in the news for the last 20 years. He's somebody that has not been in power since, let me say, 2007, but he is the most powerful politician alive in Nigeria since then. He is not in government since 2007, but he has been on the news every day since then. So he didn't just wake up to, contest for president. That's why I keep telling all the opponents and those that continue to fight. Nothing happens by magic. Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu has raised a lot of men. Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu is not in government, but in government. He has always, whenever the government or whenever the party in power they are not doing, he's always speaking out. He always have a hand on who does this or who does that. He has always been there. That is why when he came out without even any argument, I believe that he will win the elections, and he won landslide. So I keep telling people nothing happens by magic. He has been there. He has always been there. So.
Okay, so it's quite interesting, and we will be continuing the show, but also to our viewers, there's a live broadcast which is currently ongoing and a race in Edo State, and so tune in to watch while we continue on the weekend show. And to our weekend show viewers, it's a pleasure having you join us every weekend on this, and we'll continue the conversation next week. Well, back to you.
All right.
You have stated that President Muhammadu Buhari tried his best and did what he could do during his time. Insecurity remains a big problem in Nigeria, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu has spoken about how we must leverage agriculture. How do you think he'll be able to thrive as president and dealing with agriculture when we still have the insecurity problems?
Yeah, insecurity has been a big issue, but when it comes to insecurity, you have to wait and see what President Muhammadu Buhari has been able to do. Before the emergence of President Muhammadu Buhari, even we in Abuja here don't sleep at home. We Nigerians tend to forget things. Once we have conquered a problem, we forget about it and continue to talk about the ones that are at hand. Do you know that nobody talks about Boko Haram anymore? But we have forgotten that nobody talks about that because President Muhammadu Buhari have decimated Boko Haram members. Yeah, I know that there are still pockets of problem like all these unknown gunmen and all this, you know. But what I'm trying to let you know is that Boko Haram pursued Nigerians out of their homes before the emergence of President Muhammadu Buhari. Now it's no more. Okay, now we have a non-government, we have bandits, and Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, we continue from there. We believe, because Lagos State became one of the safest in Nigeria when Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu became governor. So we believe that he is bringing that Lagos mindset and mentality to Abuja and Nigeria as a whole, you know. So without any reasonable doubt, I believe that Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu will curtail, because there is no country that you will subdue insecurity completely. What you will do is to curtail it to the barest minimum, where people can be able to go about their normal businesses without any fear, you know. So agriculture, it's not just agriculture. There is nothing you can do when there is insecurity. There is not, you know.
Yeah, we'll come back to that, but let's bring Woye back on. Good morning, Woye. It's good to have you back on the show. Let's start with, I heard there was a celebration, a pre-inauguration concert a couple of days ago, and I saw a couple of videos. How did that go?
It's a fantastic program, concert, let me say. It was fun. So many artists were there, and I think we partied till about 3-4 a.m. or so.
Yeah.
Also, so it was something that when you walked, you must relax and enjoy yourself. So we are ready to hit the ground running.
But even with that, the entertainment sector, Nollywood, and music, those have been major frontiers for Nigeria and Africa in the world in the last 4 to 8 years, where we talk about Afrobeats to the world, Nollywood to the world. How do you, and I do understand that the incoming president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had a stakeholder meeting with entertainers and Nollywood during the campaign season. How do you think this government would help improve the entertainment industry, which also creates a lot of jobs for the young Nigerians?
Yeah, well, before I answer that question, let me go back to that question you asked my brother about insecurity in Nigeria. The first thing, I'm going to go through that route of Boko Haram thing. Nigerian armed forces, I've never had it so good since 1983. The biggest arms, procurement done by any government was Muhammadu Buhari. Even when he was head of state, 84, he did not do that. But when he came into government, he realized that the insecurity we are facing is not just a normal conventional insecurity, like armed robbery and everything. So he has to go through procurement of armed equipment. And significantly, Nigeria has never had procurement of military equipment country to country. We always have middlemen, contractors. But in this particular government, it was country to country. And military equipment is just like you are buying television at LG. You have to design it, you have to manufacture it, so it takes time. So right now, we have equipment to work with. The next stage Tinubu would do is now to strengthen intelligence gathering such that we can reduce insecurity. Once insecurity is reduced, food is plenty. Now back to entertainment. What do we do? Recall that this government has worked on National Theatre by CBN and Bankers Committee. So we now have a particular, we now have an environment for our artists to strive. So 2, the government will increase the access to fund for artists. Because like you said, once you can put on tourism, you are creating more jobs. Now, I am very sure Bola Ahmed Tinubu will work towards crossover state in terms of bringing that particular Tinapa and that what's this place?
Cattle Ranch.
Cattle Ranch back to. We don't need to go to Rwanda We don't need to go to Accra, like me, to go and play golf. I can go and play golf. Now we now have what happened yesterday in Uyo. We now have MRO commissioned, so I can actually play golf in Ibom. From Ibom, I can actually get to Ogudu. Do you understand? So I don't have to spend my time in going to Lebanon, in going to Kigali, in going to which other area are we going to now? Cairo or what?
Cape Town.
So I think, you see, the basic thing for this incoming government, the one, security, economy, agriculture, housing, education, health. We have done so much work on road infrastructure. I mean, it's glaring to everybody. Then you realize that we are going to reduce unemployment in so many ways. Now, Buhari's government is a public sector driven government. Buhari does not believe that you should punish, in quote, poor people. That's why he kept that, what they call subsidy, or they call cost recovery, so that people can still buy fuel at an affordable price. But in Tinubu's government, there will be a shift to public, to private sector driven, whereby public sector will take it back. Now, how do we do it? We have two projects. We have public-private partnership. We have concession over items. Now, if you look at road issues, there's no way you can fix Lagos-Ibadan road for next 40 years. So what happened? We created what we call Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund. We created road tax infrastructure fund, that whereby something like Dangote, like AIT, hey, I think you fix this road. Now, government, when you fix this road, you're not going to pay exact tax you're going to pay, because you have committed a fund to this road. So we now ask private companies to come in and fix the roads, and then you can now reduce your tax.
Well, you know, that's good in theory, but I've seen cases, and I think that's a brilliant idea, because I also watched when Bola Ahmed Tinubu stated that even companies who employ more people can get tax reduction. But for roads, my concern is Nigerians, the local chiefs, the area people, where you see a private company come to fix a road, and then Nigerians and the chiefs will say, oh, you need to bribe us, you need to pay us money before we even let you fix this road. And so government can have the greatest intention. How do we now deal with those, let's call them middlemen who stand
now, in the course of
the way?
Now, what's happened is that a typical example is this Calabar Itu road that the people are actually asking for compensation. Now, what government is doing like that? In the state government will be involved with the chiefs and tackle that compensation issue. The only problem we have is that Calabar road. All other roads have been fixed, they've been paid. I'll have no issue that way. So you carry them along. The state government will tackle it, will pay them, and then the contractor should be able to, will work peacefully.
You mentioned the economy earlier.
Yep.
I want you to expatiate on how a Tinubu presidency would actually help the economy.
Okay. You see, when people talk about economy, even broadcasting is part of the economy. Now, how do you create jobs? You see, in Tinubu's government, you will find people not even going to pick forms in Federal Civil Service Commission, because it's a private sector led. Now, it means there will be financing for SMEs. You see, once you can tackle your SMEs, your economy is moving. Not giving money to big companies. Now, what do you mean by that? You will now find that there will be an agency or strengthening back of industry, not commercial banks, a single digit loan for people who are doing akara, who are selling bags, who are selling this and that, to be able to access fund. And then don't forget that this government created an agency that you can actually come with your generator, whatever, also as collateral. Also, do you get? You can access fund at a bit. What happened when you have during COVID? You know that there was a fund for people doing COVID, and there's a fund for, I mean, what do you call, for people that worked in private organization. They had funds. That's one. We're going to strengthen the particular place. Key point is this: you will have access to fund. Once you have access to fund, you can strive. Then you don't have investors coming into government. Now this government created what they call ease of business, one shop. Now, what means is that if you pick up, let's say you pick up Lagos Ibadan Road now, or you pick up a deep support in Delta State or in Bayelsa, the time period that you will get, the period you will get your approval, instead of 2 years, it will be less than 6 months. Because I have my money, I want to put a deep support in AIT here, and you are telling me that it's going to take me 1 year. I will take my money to Ghana, to another country. Now, this particular government that is coming in will reduce that thing maximum 6 months. Within 3 months, you will get approval. I'm moving. Then housing. There are going to be more funds in housing, such that, now we have, lower class, higher class, middle class is almost gone.
Yes.
Now we are going to get back that middle class. That in those days, middle class, we used to, vacation twice a year. That era is coming back. What Buhari has done, he has laid a foundation for Tinubu to build on. In housing, you have access to mortgage. You have access to mortgage, and then Federal Mortgage Bank will be strengthened to make sure that within 3, 5, 6 months, you get your loan so that you can move into your house.
Well, these things you're saying, they are quite interesting, but I would like to know how this would help the lower class citizens, because the truth is, what you've said now, it actually still caters to people of privilege, whether we like it or not. But the everyday Nigerian, how does it help the economy of the lower class Nigerians?
You see, like I said, Tinubu's government will be SME focused. In other words, a organizer, a person in saloon, and what is a person in saloon looking for is electricity, not generator, because you're adding cost. Now, in electricity, what have we done here by this government? We have, when we came in, this government, there was like 16 contracts signed by the United government to sell PHCN. You have AEDC and O. Now we realize that the agreement signed, the agreement signed, was against the government. You can't terminate it. If you terminate it, you're going to pay so much money. Now, what do we do? The only person government can use is CBN, because those guys collected money from bank as loans. So if you happen to default, CBN can put pressure on the commercial bank. Commercial bank can recover their loans by actually saying, okay, what happened in AEDC? UBA took it. UBA took over the company, and then brought another managers. Now, we now have to call Siemens Energy, Siemens Electricity. We have TCN Power, Presidential Power Initiative. Now, once we can solve electricity issue, that saloon will work 24 hours. I had a saloon somewhere in Usetu in those days, and almost in 10 hours, we have to be on 7 hours, on generator. Now, what do we not do? We have rural electrical agency that can do solar panel, solar electricity. Now, Siemens, if you watch Siemens now, where we are in Siemens now, the equipments are coming into Nigeria. At least in the next 1 year, you will see much better improvement in electricity. Once we can tackle electricity, the SMEs, the so-called people we are talking about, they will have access to electricity. They will spend your recurrent cost will go down. Because if you put on generator now, I mean, if I want to go and barb my hair, maybe 3,000, 4,000 naira now. In those days, we were 500 naira, 1,000 naira. By the time you have electricity, you will reduce your price to 1,000 naira.
Wait, what goes up doesn't come down in Nigeria.
I agree with you.
We'll come back to the tax conversation, but let me bring Chinasa involved. You know Nigeria, and it's not nobody's fault. What goes up doesn't come down with pricing. But I must say that electricity and power supply has improved reasonably over the last couple of years, even though the tariffs have gone high. And I hope this goes beyond the big cities like Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kano, like places like Benue, Kogi. I don't know how it reflects there, but I've seen changes within Abuja. However, coming to you, Chinasa, and so that's me giving credit where it is due.
Yeah.
But coming to you, Chinasa, unemployment rose from about 18% to about 28%. We saw underemployment about 33%. And this had so many factors that led to this happening. How will we be able to bridge this gap of underemployment and employment? Yes, he has stated a lot of this. And so what specific ways do you think employment will be created? And I'm guessing that's taking over from where you started.
Yeah, like I said before, because you know, our incoming president, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, is taking over from President Muhammadu Buhari. And you know what Buhari has been able to do, you know, to create employment. Despite a lot of Nigerians out there don't agree with him.
So can you state what he has been able to do just for our viewers at home?
Before we can be able to achieve things reasonably, and for Nigerians to actually be very happy, the first thing to be done in this country is to unite Nigerians. You know, because I found out that this is the problem we've had in the last 8 years. No matter what President Muhammadu Buhari is achieving, no matter the kind of equipment, no matter what he brings to the military, police, every sector, people don't see it because there is no unity. And this is why I really want Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu to be president, because he is a unifier. You know, this is what we have seen all the time he has been the governor in Lagos. So, first of all, he has to, you know, we are an Igbo man like me, we love a Yoruba man, and the Yoruba man will love an Hausa man. If you can actually dislike or hate the president and love your country, the moment Nigerians begin to love this country, you will begin to see changes. You know, when we have that kind of fraternal complementarism between each other, you will begin to see what the government is doing. Because even if Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu becomes the president and do wonders, some people will tell you he's not doing anything just because they didn't vote him or they don't like him. So back to...
Chinasa, let me interject on what you've just mentioned, and I'll let you finish. And I want Nigeria to be unified. I think that's our biggest problem right now.
That is the biggest problem we have in the country.
But with the APC at the moment, we have seen the offices for the National Assembly. Currently, the Northwest has an allocation for Deputy Senate President and Speaker of the House. If all things being equal, that may come to fruition. In a country which is as divided as Nigeria, we already have some mumblings and grumblings about that. Shouldn't that be the first step to show that you are going to unify Nigeria by ensuring that it's shared equitably? Because we have 6 geopolitical zones. Out of 6, 1 already is getting 2 positions. We've had the North Central complaining about what they have or what they will get. We even have the Southwest, who I feel should also be accommodated within that sharing formula. So if we're not seeing that at this early stage, what confidence should people have that we'll see that in other sectors once we get the president inaugurated?
That you are reading in the news that this has been allocated to this side, and it's just news.
No, it's not news. The National Working Committee of the APC, there was a press statement which was delivered on national TV.
The National Working Committee of the APC, they are not senators. They are not House of Rep members. Those people will vote who they want that day.
But the party is supreme.
Party is supreme, but after all this is politics. National Working Committee might say this is the best way to go. But on that day, senators, you will see what will happen that day during the voting, So exactly this happened during the presidential primaries. Nobody gave Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu the chance, even on televisions and radio. What happened? People know the right thing to do, but on that day, you will see it happen.
Okay, I know Wei has something to say, but I'll let you finish because
but
I'll let you finish because we're also talking about the employment part and on what you think Bola Ahmed Tinubu would do.
Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu is a man that whatever he touches turns gold. Even you sitting here know that Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu will perform. After the 4 years of President Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, Nigerians will be on their knees begging him to get ticket to go for another 4 years. This is a fact. It's an established fact that when he was a governor, he turned Lagos to the Dubai of Africa in a very short period of time. And you want to tell me that as a president, as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, that he will fail?
Let's
How?
not forget that Lagos is one state and Nigeria has 36 states.
Lagos is bigger than some countries in Africa. No, Lagos is a country on its own.
I think on the terms of unemployment, we're going to have, I think National Bureau of Statistics have already, they came out with another how to measure unemployment now. A person that is, so those statistics were having before, it has been reduced because a person that is selling akara is employed.
Of course.
But in those days, they were not captured. They were unemployed. So how do you reduce unemployment? It's the same thing as how do you reflect economy. How do you reflect economy? It's by injecting funds into the system. And you see, like I said, let me use an example. In Lagos State, you won't hear anybody saying, I'm going to Alausa. But in Abuja, you will hear people say, I'm going to Federal Secretariat. Now, that particular life or face is coming back to Nigeria, not Abuja. In Nigeria, in terms of in those days, they're begging you to Shell, Mobi, they'll give you like 4 letters of employment letters, and you will pick the one you like. But getting back to that stage, now, the next, few months. Now, to reduce unemployment is to empower our people in terms of agriculture, in terms of textile. You remember that we're doing Ajabuta, Kano, Kaduna gas pipeline. And those companies in El-Rufai states, those textile companies, there will be a dedicated power system to them. We're bringing back textile industries. But if you bring back textile industries, you must also empower your custom so that smuggling can be reduced. So that the guys in Kano, the guys in KD that are doing textiles, they're able to sell the clothes. And as a matter of fact, let's go back to the days whereby on Monday, in those days in Federal Civil Service, you wear Ankara. You're not wearing a suit. On Monday. You sure that Madam Okojo-Iweala is, you always say are wearing everywhere, projecting Nigeria image. So we should go back to that level. So you see, unemployment will be reduced. Will be reduced by unlocking opportunities for Nigerians. Nigerians are intelligent. Nigerians can turn anything to gold if you give them empowerment. So You see, the emphasis, what government should do, there are so many projects government will not perform again. And don't forget, we have Orosoye's committee. No government. You see, the problem of Orosoye committee is that so many interests, minister, PAMSEC will tell a minister, if you allow this pastor to go, your budgetary allocation will reduce, your power will reduce. We need a bold president who will be able to tackle Orosoye's committee and match those parastatals and strengthen those ones that need to strengthen, and then perhaps workers' reduction. But when you lose workers, you must be able to pay their pensions. Now, look at Abuja Airport now. We now have a concessionaire, Abuja Airport. So it's been run by a private person. For example, this railway, before IT was installed, they were collecting 80 million naira in a month. Now they are collecting 500 million naira. So 420 have been shared by all of us, in quotes.
Okay, well, yeah, I think that's great, and we must, first of all, it's good that this is live TV, and so we will hold you accountable as time goes on, hold the government accountable, but we'll have to wrap this up now. However, I would like to invite both of you next week to continue the conversation, where next week we'll talk about the debt profile, we'll talk about borrowing, we'll talk about pumping in funds. We will talk, you'll be here next week.
Yeah, but
so we will have that conversation.
But 1 minute. You see, the public are having a bad idea of total debt.
No, that's why I want us to have that next week.
The waste and means is not part of DMO's debt.
Next week we are going to have a full conversation on that.
That Buhari sent was for 10 years, not for 8 years.
Understandable. So next week we will be digging deeper, because I've also seen you have those conversations online, and I've seen that most people need to know about it. We actually had a segment where we were meant to talk about ways and means. So next week we'll be talking about the economy, mostly the debt profile, borrowing, being able to pump money into the system, devaluation, the use of dollar versus naira in Nigeria. So that will be what we will be focusing on next week. So we'll have both of you here, and we'll have our in-house economists to talk about it. But the truth is, we all want a Nigeria that works. We all want Nigeria that works, regardless of who the person or the party is, but also the political will to ensure that some of these things are done and there is inclusion. I want to thank you so much, Chinaso and Woye, for joining us. We'll continue this conversation next week to delve deeper. Then we will have a new president, and so we'll also see how it's gone, and we will continue to hold everybody accountable. But thank you so much for joining us. We'll take a quick break. When we return, Emeka Ozorumba has a guest on the Poetic segment, and we also have a guest artist performing for us. Don't go away. See you shortly.